So, what skills do you need in order to be an instructional designer? Well, it's more than you might realize. But the good news is it doesn't have to be as overwhelming or as head-spinning as some folks make it out to be. And in this video, I'll explain why. So stick around. Hey there folks, Tim Slade here from the eLearning Designers Academy. When I first fell into instructional design, e-learning, and learning and development in general over 15 years ago, there weren't a lot of readily available resources or information about how to become an instructional designer or what skills you needed as an instructional designer. And so if you were someone like me who fell into this industry by accident, you kind of had to figure it out as you went along. However, nowadays, it's really the complete opposite. There's almost too much information that it's easy to get overwhelmed trying to figure it all out and sort through all of the conflicting advice. And I think what doesn't help the matter is that what it means to be an instructional designer and the skills that you need have only expanded over the years. And as technology has evolved and gotten easier to use, and then of course the effects of the pandemic, organizations are expecting more and more from their instructional designers. And then of course we can get into the whole conversation and debate about what instructional designers actually do on a day-to-day basis. The truth is every instructional design job is a little different. And so when it comes to figuring out what skills you actually need, it really depends on the job and who you're asking. And if you're like a lot of folks working to become an instructional designer, maybe you've fallen into it by accident, or maybe you're simply trying to advance your skills or career in instructional design, all of this noise and ambiguity and conflicting advice and different opinions can leave you with this frantic energy trying to be a master of it all. But what I want you to know is that you don't have to be a master of it all. No one is expecting you to be a master of it all, even when it looks that way in a job description. And the truth is, you don't even have to love it all, because trust me, as I've talked about before, there are parts of the instructional design process that I'm just not that good at and that I really don't enjoy doing, like conducting a needs analysis. But I haven't let that stop me in my career. And so when we talk about what skills you need to be an instructional designer, or what skills hiring managers are looking for when hiring an instructional designer, I always like to talk about it in the context of being a T-shaped professional. You see, a T-shaped professional is someone who has a lot of broad capabilities, but deep expertise in a very few specific things. So for example, I'm a T-shaped professional or a T-shaped instructional designer in the sense that if you need me to, I can conduct a needs analysis. I can work with my stakeholders and subject matter experts to manage a large-scale learning project. I can design a blended training solution. I can develop that training solution, whether it's an in-person workshop, a job aid, a video, an e-learning course, or a little bit of everything. I can implement that training solution. I can manage it in the learning management system, and I can evaluate it at the end of the day. I can do a little bit of all of those things if you need me to. Now, it doesn't mean that I'm going to love it or that I'm even going to be the best person suited for doing it, but I can do it if you need me to. Now, on the other hand, as it relates to my deep expertise, for me, that's designing and developing engaging, visually appealing, and interactive digital learning experiences and tools like Articulate Storyline, Rise, and Camtasia. That's where I excel. And when I ask myself what it is that I love doing, what I'm really good at, and what I want to be hired for, that's where those things intersect. And that's where I've chosen to focus my career. And the reason that's okay is because what any one organization is looking for when they're hiring an instructional designer or an e-learning developer is different and contextual to the projects that they're working on, the types of learning experiences they're creating, and of course, the types of learners that they're serving. But of course, that can take us down a whole really deep rabbit hole. So if we zoom out from all of that, what skills do you generally need as an instructional designer? Well, first off, you need to understand good learning theory, but more importantly, how those learning theories are actually applied when creating a training or learning solution. Now, there are a ton of different learning theories out there, enough that I could create a whole dedicated series of videos on the topic. However, if you're an instructional designer in a workplace setting, the three that I think are most important are Malcolm Knowles' Principles of Adult Learning, Merrill's Principles of Instruction, and John Sweller's Cognitive Load Theory. These combined can give you a really great foundation for creating an instructionally sound training solution that's not only designed for how people, specifically adults, learn, but also focused on what those people need to do back on the job. Now, from there, you need some good analytical skills. As instructional designers, it's our job to work with our stakeholders and SMEs to understand the performance issues they're seeing so that we can analyze them, understand the root causes of them, determine what can and cannot be fixed with training, and of course, offer recommendations. And this is where conducting a good needs analysis or task analysis comes into play. Next, I'm going to add project management skills. And this is one that I think often gets overlooked when we talk about what makes an effective instructional designer or learning professional in general. The ability to scope a project, conduct a kickoff meeting, draft a project plan and timeline, negotiate the wants of your stakeholders with the needs of your learners, and being able to communicate effectively are all things that any instructional designer must be able to do with any project, big or small. Now, this brings us to multimedia development skills. And this is one out of all of the other skills which I think has evolved and expanded the most over the years. When I was first getting started, most instructional designers just needed to know how to use tools like Microsoft Word or PowerPoint and maybe a little bit of LMS administration. But, with the advent of more and more authoring tools that don't require advanced skills or coding, tools like Articulate Storyline, Rise, and many others, more and more organizations are expecting instructional designers to not just be designers, but also developers. And within this category of technical skills, it's not just about e-learning, it's also about multimedia development in general. The ability to edit images and create graphics and edit audio or video fits in here as well. All right, so the final skill that I'll add to this list are visual design skills. And, some might argue that this one isn't that important. However, I wholeheartedly disagree. It's my belief that good visual design serves more than just making something aesthetically pleasing. When used properly, good visual design and graphic design can help increase comprehension and reduce cognitive load. All right, so as you can see, being an instructional designer is very multidisciplinary. And if you're just starting out, it's a lot, I know. But keep in mind, is it great that you can do a little bit of everything in this list? Yeah, of course. But do you need to be a master of it all? No, not at all. And no one is expecting that of you, because trust me, nobody in this industry, and I mean nobody, is amazing at all of these things. The key is to start with the skills that you're most comfortable with or passionate about and start growing them from there. And eventually, you'll start to widen your broad capabilities, and you'll also better understand your deep expertise. All right, so I want to know what you think. What skills do you think are needed to be an instructional designer? Share your thoughts by commenting below. As always, I want to thank you so much for watching. If you want to learn more about instructional design and e-learning development, make sure to check out the links down in the description. And of course, if you haven't done so already, make sure to click that like, subscribe, and that bell button to get alerted the next time I publish a video just like this one. And of course, make sure to join us inside the eLearning Designers Academy to connect and network and learn from others who are looking to grow their e-learning and instructional design careers by focusing on skills first. Otherwise, my name is Tim Slade, and until next time, I'll see you around.